Dash here, coming at you today in Clash Royale. Welcome to the video, guys. How was your weekend? Mine was amazing. It was fantastic. I took my son to a water park, got a little bit of a sunburn. Man, I have this pale Irish/English skin pigmentation, and I don't do too well in this sun. The sun fries me, and mosquitoes love my blood. You know how there's two types of people in this world? The type of people who mosquitoes never bite, and the people who just get bitten like 8 times more than their friends. Yeah, I'm that guy. Anyway, guys, balance changes. I didn't record yesterday because I was away from the house all day. So kind of one-day-old news for you guys, but I thought we'd talk about them. And because we're a day late on these balance changes, I thought it'd be pretty cool to go ahead and check out the community reaction on these changes as well. So let's go through them quickly. These changes are coming, of course, August this year. So these are the big balance changes coming to the game, guys. Let me know how you feel about them. I want to talk about this Elixir Golem rework first, right? So you guys can see, by the way, massive credit to Royale API. I will link their website. They provided this image. It was since shared on Reddit. Let's go ahead and give it an upvote as well. So the Elixir Golem rework. So what are they doing? Each golem part now gives elixir. So the big gives 1 elixir, the middle gives a half of an elixir, and the small gives half an elixir. So you're still getting 4 total elixir back. But since the elixir is granted faster to the defender, they also buff the HP on the big one by 9% and the medium ones or the middle ones by 6%. The rationale here is they say this. The whole pack of Elixir Golem plus Battle Healer plus Electro Dragon plus Rage needs untangling and making all 4 cards viable outside this infamous combination. It's actually a good point there, and I agree with that. We start with the foundation of which is the Elixir Golem, expect other cards, to be changed next in the future. So that is the Battle Healer, Electro Dragon, and Rage all being changed in the near future as well. We'll see how the meta evolves, they say. So guys, do you think this is a nerf or a buff or a rework? It is a rework, I mean, traditionally. I think it will, this one, to be totally honest with you guys, I'd love to speculate, but I don't know. You're going to be getting your elixir back quicker as a defender. You do have more HP to offset that as the person using the E-Golem on offense. To me, my gut is it won't be enough to make the card, not one of the worst win percentage cards in the game, which it is right now. All right, enough about Elixir Golem. Let's talk about the buffs here, guys. Let's go through these quickly. You can see them right now on your screen. Prince. The faster charge from 3.5 to 3 tiles. Not a massive change here, but a buff to the Prince. I'll take it. Mega Knight. Jump is faster. 1.1 second to 0.9 seconds on the jump cooldown ability of the Mega Knight. I actually think that this one is a pretty decent buff to the Mega Knight, who you guys may argue did not deserve to get a buff at all right now. A lot of people still unhappy with Mega Knight, even though the win rates have never been sky high on Mega Knight. That's not to say that the card is not good and effective. I actually think that it is a good card, so I'm kind of surprised that they did this buff, and I think it will make the card more annoying / more fearsome, depending on if you're on the offense or defensive side of the arena. They give the rationale here. Since the last Mega Knight's performance has dropped so much since the nerf, we think that initial spawn damage nerf is in the right direction, since destroying the whole push on the bridge might be a little bit too frustrating for players. So instead, we're buffing a different aspect of him, making it more difficult to kite him with cheap troops. Okay, how do you guys feel about that one? Next, we have the Executioner. Plus 1 tile max range, so 6.5 to 7.5 max range. They say the Cook has had one of the worst win rates in the game for a long while, but we want to be careful with him in order not to go back to that toxic meta. Remember way back in the day when he could one-shot like a Lava Hound, or at least the pups? So now he has the same projectile range as a bowler. It flies farther, although attack range and duration of the axe in the air stays the same as it used to be. So a range nerf, but the overall duration of the attack is the same. It's a clear buff. I'm okay with that one. I mean, the Executioner is just not that compelling of a card right now in the game, so is this going to be enough for him? I don't know. I say probably not. There's just so many better and more compelling 3, 4, and 5 elixir choices for range defenses. Not to say he won't have a home in some decks, Hog Exinado is still a thing, but I'm really not too scared about Executioner being, meta toxic right now, even after the buff. The Death Slow effect has been changed from 1 to 1.5 seconds on the Ice Golem. I love this one, guys. Just putting him on the radar for players. He's not particularly bad, but barely used outside of 2.6. Hopefully more peeps would start using him as the commentary from Supercell. Let's get to the nerfs here, guys. We have the Golden Knight. HP less by 10%. That's 2,000 to 1,800, tournament standard HP. He's too good in everything. Tanking, dashing, dealing damage, charging. We're using his HP as the more straightforward way to make it easier to counter. I agree. I still think he's going to be one of the most broken cards in the game at 10% less HP. I still think he's going to be one of the strongest cards in the game. Do you guys agree or disagree? Next, we have the Skeleton King. 2 less skeletons from the ability. So Resurrection Skeletons, -2, that's all the way down to 16 now. So they keep removing skeletons away from the Skeleton King, hopefully making the card not as oppressive. 2 less skeletons, I don't know, man. Again, I think he's still going to be an incredibly good card, really, honestly. I don't think that's going to be enough to really have a big impact on his win rates at all. I still think he's going to be fantastic. What about you guys? Next up, we have the Electro Giant. Reflection Tower damage -33%. Not much else to say on that one, except for hallelujah! The E-Giant won't be as annoying because that tower damage on the reflect damage, that's what makes this dude so annoying, really. That's what it is. So I think that, honestly, 33% less damage is a pretty big nerf to the big fella. I think that's going to keep him in check a lot better than it is right now, right? I think it's a pretty big nerf. I'm actually, I don't want to say worried because, you know, I'm not going to shed any tears for E-Giant users, no offense out there, but, like, I don't think he'll be that good. I mean, that's part of the reason that he was so compelling. But still, even -33% damage, he still does a lot of damage in a vacuum. I'm kind of on the fence on this one, can you tell? Fireball pushback, 1.8 to 1 tile, so almost cutting the pushback in half. 44% reduction. That's pretty major. It takes a lot of the skill away from Fireball, right? Which was kind of a bummer. I'm not for this change personally, but I'm not going to cry about it. I feel like it will be interesting to see if this, you know, sheds a little bit more room for cards like Royal Delivery, cards like Snowball, since it does have the knockback at least. Royal Delivery doesn't anymore, although I'd love if they could add that back to Royal Delivery. But even if small knockback, it'd be really cool to have that reset and stuff in the knockback. But yeah, and maybe a little bit more poison. I'm okay with it, I guess, even though I wouldn't personally want to nerf the Fireball. I didn't see that one coming. The last one is the Fire Spirit. Reason the strongest spirit right now deals way too much damage. We're cutting back his damage by 9%. By 9%. It also kills goblins even after the nerf. So it still does kill gobbos. So I guess I agree with that one. Furnaces maybe a little bit less annoying, and Fire Spirit is an incredibly good spirit, so I don't have a problem with that. So overall, I think I kind of like the changes, guys, honestly. Again, just to well, let's see what you guys have to say. I've already shared my opinions. So Pizza Man Julian says, they're going to take away 2 skeletons from the Skeleton King every season so that nobody gets mad at a massive nerf all at once. It's a good strategy, Supercell. Good strategy. I like the psychological strats there. Skeleton Resurrection will have no more skeletons in a few seasons. But it take 2+ years to accomplish that, sadly. Oh, well, you know, it is what it is. This guy says, I get mad every time they take away 2. And sometimes Skeleton King will absorb skeletons. Let's see. The next up is the concept of the Elixir Golem's rework is interesting. Let's see how it turns out, says Defender Unicorn. This guy, Alien Overlord 53, says, I like it. Now you're getting Elixir as you go instead of one huge chunk at the end. It currently feels like you have to be ready to use that Elixir at once. This guy says, yeah, I think the only way it delivers Elixir now is actually a pretty significant nerf. Ooh, because you can take advantage of it faster and are less likely to leak from it. I think the way it delivers Elixir now is actually a pretty significant nerf. Yes, that's a nerf, but it also has more health. That's why it's a rework. Correct. I was just addressing that. Okay. We get it. Let's see. It gives the enemy Elixir quickly, so they're able to counter push your battle healer push. Correct? Isn't it a nerf overall? So a lot of debate over whether this is a nerf or a buff. And I kind of told you guys earlier, without reading all these comments, that I was kind of on the fence myself. The new Elixir distribution is a nerf. So as to compensate that, the HP of stage 1 and 2 Elixir blobs has increased. Okay, we kind of get it now. We get it, right? You guys get it. This guy says it is a nerf. The benefit of using Elixir Golem is that you're getting an absurd amount of value for 3 Elixir, and the Elixir that you give back the opponent happens after the entirety of the Elixir Golem is dead, which typically occurs to the end of your push. So he's making a pretty good overall point here on Patriot Verse, basically saying that, yeah, it seems more like a nerf than a buff to him, and I'm inclined to agree. This guy says, Mac Attack says, Executioner doesn't need more range, he needs more damage, in my opinion. Kind of said the same thing. I don't think it's going to be enough for the Executioner. He needs to be deleted, said this dude. He counters 5 of my deck cards. And then this guy says, I agree, I use Lavaloon. I agree too, I use Lavaloon main. And this guy says, I don't agree. Well, I don't agree personally. I don't know. I don't agree with what? Deleted? Or don't agree with the damage? I would like to see a little bit of a DPS hike on the Executioner personally. Not to make him game breaking again, but you know. Rip Fireball pro plays with his pushback. Now I gotta be extra careful. Indirect balloon buff, for example. That's true. That's very true. Balloon doesn't need that buff, IMO. Supercell keeps nerfing balance cards such as Fireball and Log. They're literally the most used cards in the game. There's a difference between most used cards, though, and like oppressively toxic cards, right? And I don't see Fireball or Log as oppressively toxic. You can make a counter argument about cards like, you know, Expo, right? It always has low use rates, but very high win rates. But that doesn't mean that we should nerf or buff based solely on any of those stats. That's kind of how I feel about every card. He said they're using the same strategy on Fireball as Log. Heavily nerf knockback first, then change the nerf to what you wanted to nerf in the first place to please the community. So we'll see what happens with Fireball, guys. I'm a smooth brain. Can someone explain the E-Golem rework? We've already talked about that. Executioner is back. What about you guys? It will not make his overall attack speed slower. I believe it will not, based on the text that I shared with you guys. But a lot of people kind of really excited about High Exinado. My card is finally back. I don't know. Will one tile make that difference? I'm overall happy with these changes. Nobody asked for the Fire Elemental nerf and the Ice Golem buff, but they're understandable. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the video. We've read a lot of feedback here. Now it's time to hear from you guys. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Really appreciate you guys checking out the video all the way till the end. If you enjoy the content here, subscribe to the channel. And by the way, guys, I have big news. I have 1 day left. 1 day left on this giveaway. Go ahead and check it out here. Where are we? Where's my giveaway? Man, I tweet a lot lately. Okay, we're giving out a sealed package box, excuse me, of Clash Royale trading cards circa 2018. All you have to do is follow me at CWA on Twitter and retweet that box. There you go. I posted this on June 26th, and again, I will be pulling it or choosing the winners 1 month later, which is tomorrow. So go ahead and enter for that. I'm also giving away a full box of Clash Royale merch, so you can enter that one as well. Both winners will be selected tomorrow. Again, you can follow me on Twitter at CWA. Thank you for watching. Big shout out to Bren Chong, to Royale API, which I used that image from again, and to Stats Royale. Guys, thanks so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.